Here we go, episode 143 of The Hardline. Michael Merlo, John Michael Masiri, here with you, recapping what was a very exciting Week 3 in the NFL. JM, before we start, how are you?
I'm good, man.
Also, actually, let me interrupt. You weren't good. You were in the same state. Were you in Nashville, Tennessee?
I was in Tennessee, not Nashville, but yes, I was in Tennessee.
You were in the same state as Will Levis.
I was.
He should not be allowed to play football.
It's really funny because you know, obviously you go to these places, you know that they're Titans fans and they're Carolina Panthers fans. You know, if you're in North Carolina, Tennessee, around the border over there, but it's just like funny to witness like them, the culture and the fans in person, like. I'm at this airport bar. These guys are freaking out about Andy Dalton tearing up the Raiders. I'm at, in Tennessee. People are freaking out about Will Levis. It's really funny to witness first person. And the country accent makes it funnier. Like a lot funnier.
Does it?
Bro. So, for those who don't know, I went to a NASCAR race this weekend. Hence the decorative
Did you
cars
buy
out in front of me.
these?
So I bought this one. This one I ordered like 3 weeks ago. I have a little collection. But, so, like, it's not like a stadium where you park. There's a big parking lot. Like, there's no parking lots for the most part at these NASCAR tracks. You just park in, like, fields or people's homes. They, let you park on their lawn for $20. So, the accents and the people that you see at these races, it's hysterical. We're pulling up. We're like, hey, how much you charging for parking? The guy's like, $20, whatever he says. And I'm like, okay. We ask him instructions on how to park. Mind you, guys got no teeth. Okay. Zero teeth. Chest hairs out. Flannel cut off.
Feeling good.
Cut off flannel. Feeling good. Yeah. He goes, you guys see that white shit over there? If you want to go park it down over there, right by that white van. And then he goes, any of y'all got beer, by the way? And we're like, no, we don't have beer. He's like, all right, because this lady keeps asking me if I got any beer, and I ain't got no beer, so you got to look like you might have some beer. And I'm like, I don't got beer, bro. And he's like, all right, y'all have a good day. Like, that is literally how they talk.
It was bad.
Yeah,
it
was great. But it's, it's a comforting voice. It's very
You were comforting.
I mean,
you were comforting.
It's very comforting.
With the guy with the chest hairs out and the no
Yes.
teeth asking for beer while you're driving.
100%.
Comforted.
But what's not comforting is Will Levis throwing a football for your favorite football team.
We're going to talk about him.
That is not comforting.
Very soon. He should be banned from the league.
Oh.
They should. We'll get to them. But very excited to discuss football this week. We're not going to talk about your Jets, but your Jets played probably one of the most complete games in a very long time. So congrats to your Jets.
Thank you.
Almost a week ago now when this episode's out. So
yeah.
We'll be getting to the Jets when we preview a little bit next week on the gambling show.
When we preview the Super Bowl, yeah.
Wow, that is really aggressive. And my Giants one, we're going to get to the Giants.
Yes.
Before
in the good, the Giants are going to be in the good section.
The Giants are in the good. We're going to do the good, the bad, the ugly before we get to that.
Roll my sleeves up here.
Yeah, you're going to sweat. It's a little hot in here. The AC could kick on a little bit. It's all right. Yeah. But either way, before we get started, just make sure do a little housekeeping. Liking and subscribing on YouTube, liking and rating us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you need to get your podcasts elsewhere and we're not on there,
let us know.
Email us. Our email's everywhere. So let us know what's going on. We really appreciate the support. And now it's time to get to the good. This team, all they are is on the good this year. This team is literally the definition of good in the NFL this year. And that's the Minnesota Vikings, who had a dominant performance against the Houston Texans.
Yeah, story of the NFL so far, sort of like this year's Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Big surprise, big career revitalization out of a quarterback from the same draft class as Baker Mayfield, 2 picks afterwards, and Sam Darnold. Mike, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. He's leading the NFL in touchdown passes. The season ends today. Sam Darnold's your NFL MVP. And we're 3 games in.
You think he's the MVP?
Yep, he's the MVP. I mean, maybe when all is said and done after this Bills-Jaguars game, Josh Allen might have something to say about that. But as we currently stand at 8:48 on Monday night, Sam Darnold's my MVP.
He's incredible. I do want to give credit here, though. Like, we're going to talk about Darnold, and Darnold's great, and he got injured, and he's okay, thank God. Kevin O'Connell said he'll be good. And they're playing a big game on Sunday against the Packers, which might involve Jordan Love now. We don't know. But the one thing we need to sit here and say today is Brian Flores deserves a ton of credit.
See, you went for it too early. Like, I was going to do, like, the ESPN kind of like, oh, look at this great offense, Sam Darnold, and then get to the real reason why they're doing so well. You went right for it.
We've talked about Sam Darnold so much.
Yeah.
And, I mean, listen, he was good yesterday. He was good on Sunday. Was he great? Was it his best start? No, it wasn't his best. 17 of 28, 4 touchdowns, 181 yards.
4 touchdowns,
he's had better starts this season. But really, the credit needs to go to Flores, because we talked about Flores last week when we saw what Brock Purdy said to him after the game. Man, that scheme was crazy. Something along those lines. On a hot mic, they got it. And then this week, making C.J. Stroud, who I think is the third best quarterback in the league. Okay? C.J. is the third best quarterback in the league.
Debatable, but
he made Stroud look so uncomfortable yesterday. And it's what he's throwing at him.
Yeah.
Like, they have good defensive players, but this isn't T.J. Watt and Myles Garrett coming at you.
Right.
You know, they have good players, but it's not elite level players there. He's doing a great job.
Yeah, I mean, you want to talk about maximizing your personnel and overachieving on this defense. It's Minnesota. I mean, they gave up 7 points to Houston. They really had an easy time with the 49ers offense as well, who are no schlack offense, obviously. One of the best offenses in the NFL, and we'll get to them later. I don't know what the hell's going on with their defense. And, you know, week 1, they had the tough task of your beloved New York Giants.
Yes.
Very. You know, no sarcasm whatsoever meant with that tough task statement.
Definitely.
But Mike, that defense looks great. I mean, they lost some pieces over the offseason. It really
Hunter.
doesn't. Danielle Hunter left. Doesn't seem to matter. I mean, Blake Cashman came over from Houston. He seemed to be an underrated piece in the NFL, and you know, he's certainly helping out that defense. Harrison Smith, at the age that he is, to be still producing at a high level, and I think a lot of that credit should be given to Flores. Mike, this defense looks scary, and the offense, I mean, you know, it's the driving force for this team.
Yeah, and O'Connell puts them in a good situation. As always, it's a good offensive line. They have weapons there. We know they have weapons there. And it's Darnold not making mistakes, making the right throws, throwing to the right guys. That's really it.
I mean, here's the thing with Darnold. I keep seeing this stuff about, you know, oh, the Jets gave up on him. But, like, okay, first of all, we're not going to talk about Carolina and San Francisco also giving up on him. But he's a guy that when you put him in the proper structure like O'Connell is doing right now, he's got all the traits to be a good pocket passer. I mean, and he's got athleticism to escape. So when you're putting him in structure and you're throwing to the best wide receiver in football like that, and you have a great scheme and a defense that you can rely on, I mean, why can't Sam Darnold be in the MVP conversation throughout the entire season?
Did you see that he's like the same, what is he, the same age as Burrow or a year younger than Burrow?
Yeah. Well, that was the big attraction for him coming out of college, is he was the youngest quarterback in that class. And Burrow, I mean, we know his story with walking on and transferring from Ohio State to LSU, and he kind of got a late start. So yeah, that's crazy. I mean, what are they? 2020? What, Burrow was 2020, right?
Burrow's 2020,
and Darnold was 18. So yeah.
So I saw I was watching the Pat McAfee show today. I ate Chipotle alone at lunch. I was one of those guys just with his iPad.
Yep, that's me.
iPhone, AirPods in.
Love it.
Just chilling.
Isn't it so peaceful?
It is a little peaceful.
Yep.
I get worried that people are going to look at me and say, "Oh, he's alone." But screw him. I'm so happy to be alone in that moment. I'm watching what I want to watch, and I'm enjoying myself eating Chipotle.
Life is great in that moment.
So I'm sitting there today watching Belichick, and I heard Belichick make the dig at about the Jets with Darnold, how he said everybody's like Sam. Everybody always likes Sam. Just not the Jets. And that's not fair. It's not fair. You make a good point. But can I say something? Because my boss actually always says this. Okay, he loves Joe Douglas. Okay, he's obsessed with Joe Douglas. And he said the only mistake Joe Douglas made was not, it was drafting Wilson, right? And I'm like, and I'm thinking about it the other day. He said it to me again. I'm like, he didn't have to draft Wilson.
No.
I mean, he could have kept Darnold.
Yeah.
And drafted an offensive lineman. No, he could have kept him.
It's just like you're coming over to a new situation with, he comes over, they fire Adam Gase, and, you really want to start with somebody's failed project in Sam Darnold.
Well,
and
I'm not saying you have to commit to him, but you have him for a year, you see what you got, and then you move on.
Yeah, but, I mean, let's be real here. Hindsight is 20/20.
Hindsight is 20/20.
You got the second overall pick in a quarterback class that a lot of people thought was going to be a really good quarterback class. We might not get a single good quarterback out of that class now, but at the time we thought it was great. Are you really going to skip up a number 2 overall pick in your first year as a GM to select an edge rusher or a receiver or somebody like that?
No, listen, and again, I was on the side of drafting a quarterback there. It's we're obviously playing Monday morning quarterback. It's a mistake, yes, because he missed on the quarterback.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah.
And I would have done the same thing as Douglas. I probably would have drafted Wilson.
Yeah.
Actually, I like Trey Lance.
Oh, you loved
I
Trey
loved
Lance.
Trey Lance.
Yeah.
I might have drafted Trey Lance.
there was a lot to love about Trey Lance. Now,
Not much to like.
yeah, not so much.
Trey Lance, but the Vikings keep winning. I'm very excited to see this game against the Packers, and we'll transition into the Packers and Malik Willis here because this game is going to mean a lot in terms of the standings, right? They're both the Vikings are 3-0. The Packers, who basically didn't lose Love, right? They're 2-1.
Yep.
I mean, if you told me they started 2-1 with Jordan Love, I would have said,
Yeah.
okay, great, good job. You started 2-1, especially with the schedule they had.
Yeah.
So it works out for the Packers, but this is a big game for the NFC North because of these tiebreakers.
Oh, it's a huge game. I mean, we'll talk about the Packers right now, I guess.
Yeah.
Malik Willis has done a great job. More credit needs to be given to Matt LaFleur. I mean, unbelievable job by him to be shorthanded like this and having an injured quarterback so early in the season, and a guy Malik Willis who this isn't Tyrod Taylor. This isn't some experienced backup who's had success in the NFL. Like, no, Malik Willis is still very young. He's in his third season, I believe. Had a terrible start in Kansas City, gets shipped away and doesn't win the starting job over Will Levis. Like, not off to a great start career-wise. And he comes over to Green Bay and, with 2 weeks being with the team, they come out and they win 2 games with Malik Willis. So credit to Willis, but mostly credit to Matt LaFleur and credit to the Packers for being able to get the offensive output that they have. I mean, it's crazy.
LaFleur, you give him credit. He's done a great job. Malik Willis has made himself money. I mean, whether or not you want to say it's LaFleur, I obviously know it's all Matt LaFleur, but somebody's going to pay Malik Willis to be a backup now after this.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
He's done a great job, and it's a young roster. You give him credit. LaFleur, even last season with Jordan Love stepping in, having the bad start to the year, turning him around, all with a young roster. They still have one of the youngest rosters in football. Them and the Rams, I think, have the 2 youngest rosters. So you're 2-1. It's like you never lost Jordan Love, and now you have a chance to win a big game on Sunday against the Vikings. And it's in
Where's that game?
It's in Green Bay.
It's in Green Bay.
So I think they're favored by 2.5.
Ooh, Green Bay. Jets got Vikings the week after that. So if Green Bay could, big win for the Vikings in Green Bay, come in all high and mighty to London, loss, right?
So you want,
like, for example, the Broncos lost to the Bucks. So, like, that's good for the Jets this week. The Broncos beat the Bucks. So that's good for the Jets this week because now Broncos coming off a high loss. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like the Raiders and the Panthers this week.
how about my Denver Broncos?
That's crazy. I'm going off the rails a little bit, but
2.5. Yeah, they're 2.5. I understand what you're saying. They're 2.5 point favorites, Packers. I don't think
with Jordan Love, I think this Vikings team is due for a little bit of a smack in the mouth.
If you don't think Jordan Love's playing, I'd bet the Vikings right now.
Oh, Jordan Love is going to play. Even if Jordan Love isn't 100% in a game like this,
You think he's playing?
he's playing. He is playing. He could have played this week.
I like the Packers.
So do I.
I probably won't bet it, but I like the
Yeah,
Packers.
that's a great game. Is that 1 o'clock?
It's a 1 o'clock game.
That should be a 4:25.
They should send Brady there, but they're not. You know where they're sending Brady this week?
Where?
You got to look at if you looked at the schedule, you get it right away. No, you can't look at it like
Chiefs
that.
Chargers?
No, Patriots 49ers.
Oh, for Christ's sake! What are we
I'm
doing?
pretty sure it's where he's
Oh,
going.
what are we doing?
Yeah, that's not good.
That's gross.
Pats. Get to see what he has to say about the Pats.
Come on,
And then
Tom.
his former
What
love.
is he going to say about the Pats besides terrible things?
Look at Jacoby Brissett there, not throwing
Yeah.
that ball, not making a mistake.
Yeah.
They better not play May. They're going to ruin May
No,
if they
they
play
are
May.
going to kill May.
They're going to kill him.
May's going to get killed.
I hope they don't play May. Any more on the Packers here who... Oh, no. Actually, the team the Packers played.
Whoa. Is that coming up in the ugly?
No. We'll get to it
Oh,
now.
we'll get to it. Okay, we'll get to it now. We're cheating.
That team is a disgrace.
Gross.
I was high on Callahan. And listen, obviously 3 games in, I'm not, going to sell my stock. But I won't bet them again. They're a disgrace to the NFL right now. Will Levis is terrible.
Yeah.
Will Levis is not going to be a franchise quarterback in this league. I don't care what anybody has to say.
Something we need to understand is the whole like, oh, Will Levis, but he makes some throws sometimes. You're like, wow, what a throw. You know who else makes throws like that? Zach Wilson can make throws like that. Anthony Richardson can make throws like that. Like these guys, like a lot of quarterbacks these days have the big arms and ability to make big throws. That doesn't mean that they could be a great quarterback. At the end of the day, the most important thing about a quarterback is their brain. And Will Levis's brain is something's wrong with it because he loves throwing to the other team.
He's not a good quarterback.
And that
he makes the most
reckless,
mind-boggling mistakes.
Yeah.
And by the way, his offensive line didn't really help him yesterday
no.
either. The Packers had a good rush against him.
But like it's the easiest, most simple mistakes. Like that pick 6 he threw to Jair Alexander. It's a 5-yard hitch route outside the numbers. So it's a risky throw, but if you time it up right, it's an easy gain. He gets the ball, immediately squares his shoulders, waits for Hopkins to finish running his route, and then throws the ball. And it's like, I could have picked that off for a pick 6.
My stars did not go well this week. I went 1 and 2, and I hit the 1.
Oof.
I will say this. It was a weird week for me because I hit so many bets, but I also didn't love anything. But
Don't the Liberty play like tomorrow?
Yeah, they're in the playoffs. You ever have a week where you like a lot of games, but you didn't love one of them?
Oh, yeah.
I had this week where, I like this. I liked everything equally.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, it was really just picking out of a hat how I was going to rank them. And I just went with the biggest dog, and I was like, yeah, we'll make this the 3.
Okay. That happens to me, and I just force myself to love a game.
It's annoying because, like I told you before, I bet the hell out of the Panthers and the Broncos, separately from this, and of course I won, and I'm happy. I had a great week. I rode JM with the Ravens with the Ravens this week and hit big there, but it's one of those weeks. I can't. I don't know. I gotta like pay somebody to rank them for me.
Mike, why don't you get to what you really want to talk about, bro?
Clap it up. Clap it up for the New York Football Giants. Trying to lose a football game, by the way. They did everything in their power to lose that football game, and they didn't. Credit to Brian Daboll for not losing. Credit to Daniel Jones, second in QBR in the league.
Yeah.
I read a tweet yesterday.
Oh, God.
I'm all over the place today. I'm in a good mood. The Mets have me in a good mood right now. I read a tweet yesterday that said, F it. Malik Neighbors is going to make me believe in Daniel Jones again. And I was like,
no, let's not do this.
Let's pump the brakes.
Come on, let's not do this. Listen,
second in QBR.
This is, and I'm right before, I'll give the Giants all the praise in the world in 1 second. This Cleveland Browns team, Mike.
Terrible.
Deshaun Watson needs to retire from football. If he wants to make things right in this world and give the Browns back what they've invested, just retire because he is terrible. I mean, you said it. The Giants multiple times in the fourth quarter were trying to lose this game.
They were tired.
I mean, yeah.
They were tired.
And the Browns are getting great field position. They can't even convert a first down. So I'll give the credit to the Giants defense. They played well. Their offense looked pretty competent the whole game, basically.
In the first half, they looked very good, and then in the second half,
big shout out to Devin Singletary for sliding there. Bet the under hit, was about to break the under if he would have scored. So good for Devin Singletary. You earned a fan right there.
Your guy Motor.
Yeah, but
he's a good player.
Mike, the story of this game is Malik Neighbors 100%. I mean, the guy is an absolute stud. He is just one of those receivers that you love everything about him. Yeah. Like, he's got that build. He's just an athlete. He's long. He can okay. He's got all the traits, bro. I'm not going to go Jerry Jones, Jamie Foxx Instagram live right now.
Crazy.
Yeah, that was insane. But I mean, he's a freak talent, man.
Yeah, he's a freak. You know what? Also, what's shocking to me, and rightfully so. I mean, he just gets drafted. He's from LSU. He's a big star. I thought he was going to be a little immature, with the media and stuff like that, and on social media. We're 3 weeks in. He's handled the media very well. He sounds like a mature kid. Nothing crazy on social. I'll knock on wood there.
You're getting Odell flashbacks. That's what you're saying.
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little. He really handles himself well,
right.
And he's an unbelievable talent. I mean, we knew it out of college. We knew it when we saw him in preseason and training camp. But, like, to see him on the field and actually make Daniel Jones look like a competent quarterback. It's
That says a lot.
It's crazy.
Nobody
it
else
really
has
is.
been able to do it besides Isaiah Hodgins in certain flashes.
It's absolutely nuts. So give him credit. Give the Giants credit in that game. I mean, they couldn't get pressure with rushing 4, so they blitzed the hell out of Watson, and it worked.
I'm going to need this to get clipped up, though. You saying, it seems like a great kid, staying out of drama, whatever. I can't wait for Malik Neighbors when the Giants lose a big game when he's 2 for 34 to bitch in the press conferences about not getting the ball. Can't wait.
That's fine.
But that's what you want in your number one receiver. All those receivers are divas.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I'm talking about like crazy,
right.
Not the Giant way kind of stuff. The Odell kind of stuff that we think we're gonna see. But give credit to the Giants. Give credit to Dayball. Dayball finally had some balls. He coached not to lose the other day, and he hadn't done that.
And he coached to win.
Coached to win.
Coaching not to lose is
Finally, he did that. No, but he coaches not to lose. Like he coaches conservatively.
That's right. Exactly. That's what you don't want to do.
Yeah. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Coach to win. Go for it. Be aggressive, and he did that. One other thing. Why am I blanking on the other thing?
The Browns are terrible.
The Browns are terrible. The Giants finally got pressure on Watson.
Devin Singletary's base.
Singletary's great. I forgot the other thing, so we're gonna have to.
Maybe that's a good thing.
It might be a good thing. Did you see the start though? Did you see the start of the game? Did you see the first 2 plays of the Giant game?
Oh, yeah. Actually, no. I was watching Red Zone on my phone, and then I was like, oh, well, the Browns just scored, and there's 11 seconds into the game.
Yeah. Fumbled the kick return. First play, 24-yard touchdown to Amari Cooper.
I got to say, he is still very good.
Who, Cooper?
Amari Cooper.
Yeah, he can play.
Some of these catches this guy's making, like, holy crap. He's looking like prime Amari Cooper still.
He can play. Well, he had Deontay Banks on him yesterday, and he did some work to Deontay. Yeah, so let's just say that. It wasn't a good day for Deontay Banks. Oh, Giants-Cowboys.
Now there's a storyline for that game.
A little bit.
The
So, there's 2 sides of me. There's the side of me that our friends hate because I'm a pessimist with the Giants, which is the realistic, look at this, they are going to get crushed. And then there's, the 5% in me, the kid in me. Maybe they can upset them. Maybe this is the game you get them. Because Dallas looks like crap.
Well, what's the thrill in being a fan if that's not in the back of your mind?
It's in the back of my mind. Maybe a little bit.
Dallas is vulnerable. 100%.
They're not a good football team right now.
And you better hope and pray that this game, Thursday night primetime, isn't like that Sunday night primetime at MetLife last year.
Don't say that. Don't even put that in the...
Well, that's what derailed your season, the blocked field goal on the first drive. That's why you guys went, 5-12 or whatever.
Well, it had something to do with it. It had something to do with it.
Yeah. Breaking news, bad football teams lose lots of games.
Well, quarterbacks getting hurt also does that. Big week for Mike here,
Yeah.
Next 3 games, Mets, Braves.
Liberty
playing playoff basketball.
Yep.
SMY had a post today, and it was great times in New York, and it had the Mets and Yankees in 2 corners, then it had the Giants and the Jets. Giants get the first win, Jets 2-1. And then, the next slide was, Jalen Brunson. And I think they went back and edited it and put another slide for the Liberty in the playoffs. That's they're the last slide.
The editor is come on, what are we doing?
Anyway, we're moving on here. What are we moving on to? Let's see.
The Pittsburgh Steelers.
Please. The Steelers are 3-0.
Yeah. Disgusting.
I don't believe in the Steelers still. They need to win 6 games, really. 6 more games to get in the playoffs.
Okay. This is the thing with the Steelers. I think we're figuring them out. They are the best team at playing ugly football, okay? We know this.
They're great.
Put the Pittsburgh Steelers against the Kansas City Chiefs. Put them against some of the elite teams in the league. They are going to get smacked. Once this defense gives up 20-something points, it's over, okay? If they played the Chiefs tomorrow, they're going to lose 28 to 10.
Here's the problem, JM. I'm looking at the schedule.
Yeah.
Let's go through it quick. At Indianapolis.
Win.
4-0. Home against Dallas. I'll say loss, but they could win that game.
Yeah.
4-1. At Vegas.
Win.
5-1. Home against the Jets. That's a close game.
Yeah.
I'll give them a loss. 5-2. Home against the Giants. That's a win. 6-2. At the Commanders after a bye.
What is the schedule?
They're 7-2. It gets tough here. You want to hear the rest of it?
Yeah.
Home against Baltimore, at Cleveland, at Cincy, home against Cleveland, at Philly, at Baltimore, versus Kansas City, versus Cincinnati.
Yeah, there you go.
It gets tough.
It gets real tough.
But they're going to win 7 games.
Yeah, they got a little insurance in there.
They're going to win 7 games before they get there. And they're probably going to beat Cleveland twice because they stink.
Yeah, Cleveland sucks.
They'll steal one from Cincinnati or Baltimore. So, like, they're going to make the playoffs again. Unfortunately, this team is going to be in the playoffs again. With Justin effing Fields at quarterback, they're going to make the playoffs. All
right, let's get to that, okay?
Yeah, please.
Because there's a lot of stuff going on right now. Yeah, Justin Fields is 3-0. Caleb Williams, is throwing picks left and right. To sit here and say, oh, did the Bears screw up? Did they gave up Justin Fields to get Caleb Williams? Can we understand that this is not a Justin Fields or Caleb Williams problem? This is a Bears problem, okay? It doesn't matter who is on the Bears right now. What did Justin Fields do with the Bears? Can you enlighten me, Mike? Did he do anything?
He sucked.
Yeah, he did nothing. They went 7-10 last year, and they were ready to build a freaking statue for the guy. So I don't want to hear about, the Bears made the wrong decision, letting Fields go. Look how well he's going to do. The Pittsburgh Steelers are a successful organization. They have, multiple playoff berths over the past 5 years. They have a coach that's won a Super Bowl. They have the second most or tied for the most Super Bowl rings in NFL history. Like, the Chicago Bears are the Chicago Bears, and they have a problem with developing talent. And we said it in the offseason. We said, this might be one of the best situations for a rookie quarterback heading into an NFL season, a first overall pick ever. Well, we were wrong because we didn't take into account how bad this offensive line looks right now and how awful this coaching staff is. I mean, they can't get anything going.
Yeah, so I do want to save it for the Bears, but we can really get to the Bears here, basically. Fields played pretty good yesterday. He made a couple of big throws late. I'll give him some credit. This is a situation thing. This isn't Justin Fields is more talented than Caleb. You're 100% right. This isn't a bad situation. Like, they're protecting him. He can run. He can escape pressure. Yeah. The weapons are okay. And when you play with the best defense in the league, yeah, that also helps. Mm-hmm. So
his numbers don't jump off the page at you. They're not these crazy numbers. He played well.
He was good yesterday.
I'm not saying he's some scrub that's just getting bailed by his defense, but I mean,
he didn't play well in the first 2 games. I mean, he did not play well in Denver. He played in Atlanta. Nothing crazy, but he played well against the Chargers, who had started off the year well and strong on defense.
Yeah.
And now we're here.
If I told you, hey, 37 for 68 and gave you no context, you'd be like, oh, what is that? Like some baseball player that's like, on a hot streak right now. He's having a really good month, right? No, that's DeAndre Swift's carries versus yards. 37 carries for 68 yards. And don't get me wrong, DeAndre Swift sucks, okay? The guy's vision is some of the worst I've ever seen on a running back. I was watching a couple runs from the game yesterday. I'm like, where are we going? Yeah. But so there's no run blocking whatsoever on this team. There's nothing they could get going whatsoever on this offense, and it all relies on the shoulders of Caleb Williams right now. And yeah, he's struggling. He's being a rookie quarterback in a crappy situation, trying to find his way through the league. He's been the man for his whole life, basically. He's coming into the NFL now thinking, I'm just going to light it on fire and be Caleb and run around and throw on the run and do whatever. And he's missing throws. He's playing bad, too. I'm not going to just throw it all on the situation, but can we give the kid a little bit of time, and can we stop acting like fourth-year Justin Fields in a Steelers sheltered offense is like this world-beater quarterback that the Bears are going to regret letting go for the rest of their lives? It's a Bears problem.
I would bet a lot of money that that's not going to be the case. We can add a bad to the segment, even though the game's not over. It's 34-3 Buffalo. So, and the first half's not over. So we will add bad to the segment. That will be the Jacksonville Jaguars. Before we get to more bad and ugly, we will get to more on. I do want to discuss the Bears a little bit more later. I don't think we can go any longer in the good without talking about that Rams victory the other day. I mean, that Rams win on Sunday is one of the more impressive wins in a very long time. Just considering the entire situation, I know the 49ers are banged up as well, but the Rams don't even have enough players on their IR.
Yeah.
Enough spots on their IR right now to add players. Yeah. So that's how down they are, players. and impactful ones, by the way. Their entire offensive line's basically hurt. They don't have their 2 top weapons on offense, and they're able to find a way to win that game in what is basically a road game for them with all the 49er fans in SoFi. Sean McVay was shocked. That's a great win for Stafford. Stafford's so tough, man. I mean, he takes a beating.
Yeah.
A beating.
Yep.
And he stands in that pocket, makes throws to Tutu Atwell, and whoever the hell else they have.
Whittington, Tyler Johnson, Colby Parkinson, guys.
And they beat their rival. That saves their season. You go 0-3. 0-3, it's almost impossible.
It 100%
to come back from. So it saves their season, and they're in the thick of things now.
Yeah, I mean, that division is still going to be pretty much wide open. The Seahawks are like the surprise of the league right now, being 3-0. I mean, they've had a bit of a bailed schedule to start.
Yeah. That's the easiest schedule I've seen in my entire life.
Who'd they get week 1?
The Broncos.
Broncos, Patriots, and then Skylar Thompson / Tim Boyle led Dolphins team. Yeah,
I've never seen an easier schedule.
Yeah, you want to talk about an expected comeback to earth? I would say it for them. So this division's still up for grabs. I mean, once the 49ers figure it out, it seems like they're going to kind of take off. But it makes your season a little bit of optimism now, being 1-2 versus 0-3, especially with that much of a banged up roster.
I'll say this. Let me look at the schedule. I was gonna make a declaration that the Seahawks wouldn't win the division, but I mean 3-0 is 3-0.
Yeah, 3-0 becomes 3-1, then it becomes 3-2, and now all of a sudden
but it could
nobody
also
cares
be,
that you're 3-0.
It could also be 4-1, and it's like, oh, look at where we are.
Yeah, I once saw a 5-2 Jets team finish 7-10, so
Yeah, I'll make the declaration. They're not making the playoffs.
Okay.
At Detroit, loss. Home against the Giants, win. San Francisco,
loss.
At Atlanta,
loss.
Home against Buffalo,
loss.
Split with the Rams. At San Francisco, Arizona, I think they split. At the Jets, loss. Green Bay, yeah, definitely. Green Bay, Minnesota, Chicago, back to back.
Wow. Okay. But enjoy it now. Seattle.
But enjoy it now, South fans.
You know what? If you win, if you make the playoffs, we'll apologize, but it's not happening.
Are the Commanders going to win this football game?
Mike, stop.
Commanders better not win. They're about to go in again. This team. All right, we're moving on. We're moving on from the Rams. Where are we going, though? I have so many tabs open right now, and I'm flipping back and forth. That's why it's taking me a minute.
We're on to the bad.
We're going to head to the bad, and the bad is the Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah, they win the game. They win an ugly game. You see they didn't use Saquon at all in the first quarter yesterday? That's a true statement. You see Nick Sirianni after the game telling the reporters that he didn't kick a field goal because his analytics people told him he'd lose a 12% chance to win the game in win probability if he kicked the field goal instead of going for it.
Yep.
Nick Sirianni needs to be fired immediately.
Wow, okay.
It is a travesty that they won that football game yesterday, because if that prolongs the firing of Nick Sirianni, it only hurts the franchise.
You really think in the middle of the season that they should fire him? Like, you genuinely believe that?
I think they should fire him.
21-10 Commanders, by the way. You genuinely like? So what's the solution? So a 2-1 team.
Now they can't. 2-1, they can't.
You just said that.
I know. I said they should have lost the game,
Oh.
and won at 1-2 or 1-3. Then they could fire him.
Yeah.
You can't fire him at 2-1.
But there are bigger problems to address with this team, though. Like, I do agree. The Sirianni, the decision not to kick the field goal twice, the tush push doing the outside handoff thing was ridiculous. Whatever that was, ridiculous decisions. Especially like when you're down 3-0 and there's 10 seconds left in the second quarter, you still don't have points on the board halfway into the game. You want to go in the locker room putting some points on the board. That's being arrogant and being, we're still the big bad Philadelphia Eagles from 2 years ago. Let's go for it.
That's a great point. How about the fact that the Saints had 3 points on the board the entire game?
Yeah.
It's not like you're down 10 and you're chasing a couple of touchdowns here.
Defense was playing great.
The defense is playing well. You can tie the game, then take a lead.
And what about your offense without A.J. Brown has made you think that, we have the capability of driving down the field right now on the road in this tough stadium against this tough defense and scoring a touchdown with 10 seconds left in the game, in the second half?
It is.
First half.
It doesn't make much sense to me. their decision making. And then there's just like, again, there's a lot of noise with the organization. I mean, you talk about the stuff with Big Dom on Monday Night Football and how stupid that looked, and just
Jalen Carter having to be restrained to, not fight a New Orleans Saints fan.
The distractions on this team, the fact that the quarterback had issues with this head coach last season, in the offseason, they didn't speak. I mean, essentially, what I gather from reading all of this, all source stuff, obviously from ESPN, is that the quarterback, who seems like a really good dude, great leader, respected by his teammates, doesn't respect the head coach.
Yeah.
That's what I gather. I think any educated person would gather from reading
that
article.
I'm starting to get the hint that Kelsey was more important in this locker room than he was even on the field, especially when you consider the checks at the line and stuff like that. I didn't even talk about that with the on-field stuff. But in helping Jalen Hurts, taking the duties off of him for that, and being the well-respected guy and veteran that he was, I'm sure he was basically another coach for this team. For him to be gone now, I mean, does it not sound like it's spelling some problems for this locker room?
I mean, they had problems last season, though. So
yeah, but it seems like it's even more amplified now.
Yes,
there weren't problems until they started losing 5 in a row at the end of the year.
Right, but there were... I don't know. If you go back and watch some of those games early last season where they didn't... They were winning a lot, but they weren't clicking. Remember those conversations?
Yeah.
They got the win.
It seemed like they could do more.
Yes. It seemed like something was off even then. Like they were having arguments still. I remember like when they played the Rams. I don't know why I remember this vividly, but like there was I think an argument between Kelsey and Hurts, or it was somebody in Sirianni, and like there still felt like there was something off even last season. So I don't know what it was, but okay, Kelsey, you're losing one of the best centers in the league and a leader that's been there since 2010, I think. Yeah, that hurts, but there's just something not right. And I think the common denominator is the head coach.
Yeah, but also the common denominator that we're kind of giving a pass to right now that it's not right is Jalen Hurts.
Yes.
I mean, playing bad. He's not playing well at all.
Well, I'd love to have this conversation.
He's not taking care of the football. I mean, he's got 4 interceptions. He's got 3 passing touchdowns. He had that the sack fumble where you got to hold on to that ball. You know the situation you're in. You're scrambling out of the pocket. Yeah, it's a bit of an odd tackle. You get tripped up around the ankles. But to have the ball carelessly in your hand like that and just let it go from somebody smacking your ankle, it's, you got to take care of the football.
And the turnovers, fumbling, yes. His decision-making is terrible.
That pick in the red zone is terrible.
The pick in the red zone, the pick to lose the game, basically, against the Falcons on Monday Night Football 2 weeks ago. All of these things. And then even just not making the right reads, not throwing to the right guys, even if it's not a turnover. Like, these are all issues that this team is having. And yet, they're 2-1, and they should be 3-0. It's the same start as last year. This will come crashing and burning, but they're not as talented as they were last season.
No.
And maybe they don't get to whatever they were, 10-1?
Yeah, they were 10-1. I think going into that San Francisco game, they were 11-1 or 10-1.
So you might not get to that point this year where you're able to have this collapse and still make the playoffs.
Yeah.
This team, I don't think the division's very good, although the Commanders, I mean, what the hell is going on as we speak?
Yeah.
But like, Dallas isn't that great to me.
I mean, they're going to
compete for the division.
This is going to be a big game that I'll probably be on the Bucks for, but they got Tampa Bay now on Sunday. Tampa Bay's coming off that brutal loss to Denver, so you know that they're going to come out firing.
But Tampa's still banged up in that secondary.
They are. How about that Eagles secondary, though?
I know, but it's tough. I don't know what to make of this. That's the problem. Like, you look at this team, and their defense played, give them credit, defense fought, it played well.
Yeah.
Against the Saints.
Okay?
Oh, God.
Jeez.
Little brain fart there. They played well against the Saints. But and Mitchell, by the way, he's a good player. The corner they drafted.
Good ball player.
He's going to be a good player.
Saquon, at least, is the only guy who's like, I'm not having any problems.
Yeah, but it's not anything we didn't expect, Like, it's something that was total. If it didn't happen.
But I think if I would have told you what he's doing right now and how we're talking about the team, I don't think you would be saying that.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair. But I also think if we went into the season and said, oh, he wasn't having a good start, we'd say what's wrong.
Right.
But yeah, agreed. And AJ's a big loss offensively, but when we put it all together
And now they got Lane Johnson's hurt.
And Lane Johnson's hurt, and Lane Johnson's always hurt. If you go back from last season to now, not clicking on offense, I don't want to hear, AJ's out.
Right.
AJ played last year.
Right.
And there were issues.
Yep.
And AJ bitched and moaned for the ball.
I mean, also the standard we hold these quarterbacks to. I'm watching Josh Allen throw 4 touchdowns to Khalil Shakir and Keon Coleman. Like, do we make excuses for Aaron Rodgers, for C.J. Stroud, for Patrick Mahomes, for whoever else, and say, his number one receiver is out. That's why he's got more interceptions than touchdowns.
He's a step below. He's a step below these guys, and he has been.
Yeah.
He's been a step below the elite, even in the year he should have won MVP.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was one of the greatest situations, soft schedule I've ever seen.
Yeah.
In that MVP year.
Yeah. I hate to say it now because I really was all over him in that MVP year and thought that, this guy was going to propel himself to being a top 3 quarterback in the NFL. I was wrong, like a lot of people were. To put him in these top 8 conversations anymore, I think is a little ridiculous.
But it's shaken out a little bit. It's early right now.
It doesn't. No, but I'm saying like just overall talent. And if you were telling me you could take these guys in an NFL redraft, have them for one season, who would you want on your team? I'm not putting Jalen Hurts in the top 8. I'm just not. I might not put him in the top 10.
But right, and I would agree with you. But I'm also questioning a lot of guys. I'm questioning Burrow. I'm questioning Herbert.
Yeah,
I'm questioning those guys.
Yeah. Well, Herbert gets a little bit of a pass.
Does he?
It's a little banged up.
Wasn't really that great last season.
Burrow needs to be addressed, like 100%.
So I was, again, all over the Belichick on McAfee today. Belichick made a nice dig at Burrow today.
Really?
He was like, they were talking about like the Monday night games, and he was like, by the way, like, Burrow needs to start helping his team more. He needs to start playing smarter and not turning the football over. He goes, those fumbles are becoming a problem. He's fumbled 2 straight games. He's got to chill, basically, essentially.
Yep.
I'm paraphrasing. He also didn't say he's got to chill. But very interesting dig at Joe Burrow. But he's right. I mean, Burrow, we talked about Burrow going into this season, how even when he played before he got hurt last year, was not very good.
Yeah.
And is it true that no quarterbacks ever had the injury he's had? They were talking about that today. I'm pretty sure like he has a very rare injury that no quarterbacks had.
I actually don't know.
And they think it might affect him taking care of the football in the pocket.
This is really weird. Do you know that Joe Burrow actually, technically, if he retired today, would have the greatest completion percentage in his career of all time?
Really? What is it?
68.
Wow.
That's actually insane.
Well, good for Joe Burrow.
What is the exact injury?
I don't know. It's that hand.
Okay.
I didn't follow up on it.
No, I'm not. I mean, listen, they're if they lose this game to, we got to talk in the future right now because we're going to be done recording before this game is over. But if they drop this game to the Commanders, I mean, all hell's going to break. With Zach Taylor firing requests are going to be coming in like crazy.
Yeah. Well, let's actually move to the Cowboys and we'll talk about the other game that's happening right now because I think we could declare that one over.
Yeah.
Although the Jaguars did just score. The Cowboys almost complete just an unbelievable comeback that would have costed me hundreds of dollars, by the way. But they don't, thank God. And they lose at Jerry World for the second straight week. There are problems on that defense. There's problems. I wrote on our sheet here. Are there problems in Big D? Yeah, there are problems in Big D.
Yeah. Okay. You just wanted to say Big D.
Well, I wrote it on the sheet.
To get your defense, the defense get embarrassed like that 2 straight weeks. I mean, is that not awful look for them?
It's a bad look for them.
At home?
It's a bad look.
And I got to hear about a 16-game winning streak at home and this and that.
They play so well. I mean, I know it's overblown, but like as somebody that follows them out of hatred and in the own division, they are so good at home. It's shocking that this has happened at home. And it's definitely concerning.
Well,
and then I love Jerry Jones after saying we still couldn't afford Derrick Henry in the offseason after he's ran all over your team. That was fun too.
Well, I mean, this is what happens in the NFL too. Like we talked about them not making any acquisitions in the offseason that were of note, but like you also get a year older around the ball. So like, their defense, DeMarcus Lawrence is a year older now. So, Trevon Diggs has had some injury history. Deron Bland just had like an outlier season. So
he's also hurt right now.
Van Der Esch retired. So, like, there's a lot of things going on here. And on the offensive side of the ball, not only do you get older on offense, but you literally, at running back, get older because Tony Pollard walks out the door, and then you bring back the guy you tried to replace. You tried to replace him with Tony Pollard, Zeke Elliott. So, I mean, this offense is pretty one-dimensional. I mean, they're somewhat predictable. Like, oh, I wonder who they're going to try to get the ball to.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for them to be having this downfall right now is not surprising. I picked them to win the division because I'm just not high on the Eagles. I'm still sticking with it because I'm still not high on the Eagles. But who the hell knows? Like we said last week, the Commanders right now, they might win this game. They might be in contention for the division. The Giants come out Thursday night, beat the Cowboys. Who the hell knows? They might be in contention for the division. It's wide open, and the final standings are not going to be pretty.
This East is terrible. Yeah. This is a bad division. This is school NFC 9-8.
But the crazy part is it's not like it's a weak NFC. I mean, with the emergence of the Vikings right now, the emergence of the Saints, the emergence of, I don't want to say emergence, but yeah, the Bucs look pretty damn good from how we thought they were going to come back down to earth.
Falcons
take away that bad loss to the Broncos. Falcons looking right. They lost the game, but they played against the ex-world champions, and brought them down to the last possession in a sketchy pass interference non-call. And, you got the NFC West. There's still a bunch of teams that the jury's still out on. So once the 49ers get their act together, they're not going anywhere. Like, that's a team, the 49ers, where you look at them and you're like, okay, they'll pull it together. The Eagles, the Cowboys, I don't feel that way about them.
No, not at the moment. And, yeah, I mean, the 49ers have to get healthy. But, yes, right now, with the way these teams are currently constructed, you don't feel good about the Cowboys. You don't feel good about the Eagles. Absolutely do not feel good about the Cowboys. And it's not the quarterback. I mean, it's what the quarterback has around him. He has a young left tackle who's struggling right now.
Yep.
Guyton from Oklahoma. He's struggling at left tackle right now. And they never struggle on the offensive line. No. So this is a serious concern. That gives me hope, actually, the Giants can go in there and beat them, actually, this week. That's like the fan in me again. Oh, struggling on offensive line. Maybe you get pressure. He owns them. Listen, if Dak Prescott healthy does not beat the New York Giants, you know you have problems. Yeah. Like, if they don't win this game, you know for a fact this is an off year. Yeah. And that's not even me being annoying, a fan. Like, if
you're 1-3 and you're going to lose.
And you lost to the Giants in your second home up north. No, that doesn't happen. That never happens.
And let's not forget, that Ravens team that you just beat, they're 0-2. They really need to win. That's not a good Baltimore Ravens team. I'm just saying, they have problems in Baltimore. They remind me of the Eagles from last year when you're talking about, things just seem off. Like, they are not clicking. Things are going wrong. It's not like the Eagles where they're going to be 11-1, but it's sort of the same thing. Like, you had expectations for this team. They're coming off a great year. Everything should be going well. You add Derrick Henry, and I'm going to say this as a biased fantasy owner, but Mark Andrews is nowhere to be found. Yep. The guy didn't have a single catch yesterday. They're trying. It's almost like they're forcefully trying to turn Zay Flowers into a number one wide receiver.
Yep.
He's not a number one wide receiver. They got problems as well, and that is not a good Baltimore Ravens team that you just beat.
Yeah, I mean, they look good on offense yesterday, but I mean, they're not a full team. They're not what they usually are.
No,
and we don't know what the AFC
the offensive line is the biggest problem. And we talked about that in the offseason for the Ravens.
Lamar willed them to a win, though, yesterday.
Yeah,
I mean, he willed them to a win, and they got it.
Mm-hmm.
Derrick Henry, his breakout, you mentioned it. I don't know. I think they look good offensively. They were clicking early.
Mm-hmm.
They slowed down. It was they were up big, and they slowed down. But they lost to the better team yesterday. They absolutely lost to a better team, I think.
I'd take the Ravens over the Cowboys head-to-head, yeah. I still don't think the Ravens are as great as people think they are.
No, the Ravens have issues. Yeah. I don't disagree, but like they were definitely the better team.
AFC North is sort of like the NFC East, where the Steelers are 3-0, but like, okay, so who's the team here? Who's the team to beat? Because I'm still not sold on the Steelers. And the Ravens and the Bengals certainly don't want it, and the Browns do not.
How do we compare them? So who's the Browns and the Browns
right,
go
so
with the Giants?
The Browns.
The Browns are the Giants. The Commanders are the Steelers. I think so.
I think the Eagles are the Steelers because we're still not sold on them.
Yeah, but if the
Eagles are
Commanders
2-1.
come out and win this game, they're 2-1.
The Commanders are the Steelers to me.
That's what I just said.
Oh, did you? I
The
just had a brain
Commanders are the
fart.
Steelers.
Sorry. Yeah, Commanders are the Steelers.
Commanders are the Steelers.
The Bengals.
I think they're the Eagles. Because they're more hit or miss.
I think the Bengals are the Cowboys, and I think the Eagles are the Ravens.
No, I think because the Ravens have won the division 2 years in a row a little bit. Like Dallas has had some dominant years the past 2 years. And they're the more recent dominant team. That's why I'm giving the Ravens to the Cowboys.
We need to draw this out right now.
know.
My head's spinning. Mike, let's move on.
Let's move on because we're hurting our own heads. I'm sure we're hurting the people that are listening.
Is it ugly time?
It's ugly. It's ugly.
Yep.
And the Bears are ugly.
Yep.
I mean, you got into it. Let me get into it. So we put out a video early in the offseason. Mm-hmm. I don't even know if we were the Hardline. We might have still been the Hardline Sports Talk at this point. And I said Eberflus is a clown. And Eberflus is a bad coach, and he's not going to do much. And then I turned around and said, well, they might make the playoffs. And I predicted them to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
But they're not going to make the playoffs. Eberflus is a clown, and they should fire him before the year starts. Before the year ends, excuse me. Because what they are doing to this quarterback and what Ryan Poles decided to do, not bring in a new, young, offensive coach, or old, I don't care, offensive-minded head coach, is criminal. Mm-hmm. Matt Eberflus is an idiot. And all they tried to do in Hard Knocks, I see the Bears fans talking about this, in Hard Knocks, they literally tried to make him seem like a cool, young, hip dude.
Yeah.
New haircut, new this, new that. You remember, I don't know if you watched Hard Knocks.
Yeah, no, I did.
The first episode. What a joke. It's actually pathetic what they did. He's a clown, and they are bad. And they're not going to ruin Caleb because of how talented he is, but man, is this really bad for the first year of his development.
I mean, there's a big stink around him and that team right now, for certain. I mean, Caleb, you don't know. I don't know how this guy's mental strength is and, what could happen if he continues to struggle and the problems are going to happen within the organization and the locker room. Like, this could go south. I don't know. All of a sudden, this team could, week 10, we could be talking in a completely different light about them if he just really starts hitting his stride and, carrying this team to some victories. And I don't think he needs to carry them. I still think this is a really good defense. But, oh boy, do they have struggles on the offense. We talked about DeAndre Swift and how inefficient he's been, how they just can't get any running game going whatsoever. Some of the play calling, they're doing a speed option with 1 yard to gain. Like, that's your best play call, and it just gets absolutely blown up. The offensive line is not to be trusted at all. You sort of get the feel at this point. I can't believe we're saying this. But it's a shame that we didn't notice it. Like, this isn't fantasy football. It's not like, oh, look at DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Rome Odunze. Well, you sort of get the feeling that should they have not started this kid right away? Was the offensive line not ready to protect him?
No, because think about it. They gave Braxton Jones the extension early, the left tackle. They drafted the right tackle, 2 years ago?
Jenkins.
So, I mean, come on. They had an offensive line built a little bit here.
There's also, like we were talking about with the Eagles, some of the blame needs to be put on the quarterback, and rightfully so. I mean, he's a young first overall pick. He's going through his growing pains. A lot of this offensive line problems and the sack numbers, he does hold on to the ball for too long. I mean, I saw a couple plays yesterday where he's like, Caleb, you got to throw. You got to throw the ball. But offensive line still sucks. We saw what happened on Sunday Night Football with that Houston front seven just absolutely terrorizing the guy. He's a young quarterback. He's going to go through his growing pains. But at the end of the day, they don't have enough anything to help him out right now. Except receiver.
Yeah, but even
that. Allen's open. Banged up, but Dunze, yeah.
Moore's doing what he can. I mean, Cole Kmet's not bad, but I don't know. Jim.
It's one dimension. There's nothing worse than being a one-dimensional offense, and that dimension is your first overall rookie quarterback.
Like, I want to get on both of us for saying they were going to make the playoffs, but then, like, I look back on it, and it's like they had the weapons. Their defense is playing good.
Yeah.
So, like, whatever we saw from Eberflus and defense in the second half of the season last year stayed true.
I'm still not giving up on them.
I'm giving up on them just because of the division. You're not going to have 4 teams make it from that division.
Okay. But who knows what some of these teams are going to look like towards the end of the season.
I think the Vikes are for real.
I think the Vikes are for real, too, but you don't know what's going to happen.
I'm more mad at myself for not having the Vikes in there. I'm still pissed at that I didn't have the Vikings in there, and we had the
Why?
Bears.
Honestly, Why not? Why can't we have 4 teams from the same division? Obviously, they're going to beat up on each other a little bit, but why not? It's possible. Look around the rest of the NFC. No more than 1 team's coming out of the NFC East. I could definitely see no more than 1 team coming out of the NFC West. With the way that the Rams are banged up.
It might just be the division.
The Cardinals, they look like an exciting fantasy football team style offense, but they can't play defense for nothing. And you're going to tell me that, we talked about the Seahawks, so the Niners, I'm still going to win that division. And then you go to the NFC South. The jury's still out on all those teams.
I don't think the Saints make it.
Wow, you're way off on the Saints now.
Yeah, I think I could finally say it.
Okay.
I feel like it's a safe space. This is a safe space.
That's a terrible job by them not closing that game out yesterday.
Well, again, that's what happens when you're a fraud.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Where are we going here?
The Raiders.
No. Screw the Raiders. The Raiders suck. The Raiders suck.
Raiders suck.
That's it.
Antonio Pierce, make your business decisions. Cut everybody.
Yeah.
Trade Devontae Adams for a bag of chips.
They should cut him.
Yeah.
That's what they should do. Cut your losses there.
Mm-hmm.
JM, it's 34-10 Bills.
What
the Jacksonville Jaguars are getting steamrolled at 0-2, about to be 0-3. It's 37-10, sorry. Let's have the conversation. Will Doug Peterson be fired this week? The owner had made some statements coming into this season after the loss. How, hey, we have a good team. He spent money. They've invested a lot of money. They've spent the most money the last 2 seasons in free agency. Had draft picks, used them. This is an owner that rightfully so should be pissed off with what they've done, and they're 0-3, getting embarrassed on that. If there's ever going to be a time to fire a coach, it's now.
It's not fair. It's
Why?
not fair because
Why is it not fair?
Because you can't fire Trevor Lawrence. That's why it's not fair.
Fair.
Because the way this player market works and the quarterbacks, and everybody's like, oh, well, this guy got that extension, so pay me that. Well, Trevor Lawrence, you're not Jordan Love, okay? So why do you want Jordan Love's money? Or Trevor Lawrence, you're not Pat Mahomes, you're not Joe Burrow, you're not any of these guys. Same thing. I'm not going to talk about Tua right now. He's got his own health problems going on.
That's not fair.
But Trevor Lawrence, what have you achieved besides a great comeback 2 years ago in your only playoff victory in your in your NFL career? Besides that, you have been an average at best quarterback. He really has. Besides that 1 season out of 4, he's been an average at best quarterback. He hasn't won a football game since Thanksgiving weekend last year. So for him to just get a pass because, we gave him $55 million and he's under contract for another gajillion years, let's fire Doug Peterson. That's unfair. That being said, yeah, he should get fired. Because for those reasons, you have what they think is a great quarterback. You have weapons around that great quarterback. You have a defense that should be playing better than it has been. What is it? Like, you're not in this world beater division. I don't get it.
It is shocking that Lawrence, for somebody that believed in Trevor Lawrence, it's shocking that he's this bad.
Yeah. And something that needs to be taken into account, what do we first think of when teams can't close games? Coaching. It all falls back to coaching. We do it all the time, whether you want to think it's true or not. Most of the time when we say teams can't finish games, it's because of their coaching. And that, as the season goes on, nobody's immune to it. John Harbaugh could be being talked about as the Ravens can't close because they really can't close games. It's actually insane.
Yeah.
But that's been the Jaguars' problem for not only this year, but years past. And, you go back to that game in Miami, the Dolphins should be 0-3 right now, but the Jaguars couldn't seal the deal. They can't close games. They can't stay in games against great teams. They're getting absolutely shellacked right now. You just lost to a terrible Browns team that we're seeing that it's coming to life that they're terrible at home by multiple scores.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Why not? He hasn't won a game since Thanksgiving.
The Browns' loss is bad. The Browns' loss is very bad. Yeah. And now to parlay it with this blowout loss on national TV, I do think he gets canned, whether it's this week or in a week or two. We'll have to wait and see. All right, before we get out of here, I do want to talk about the Chiefs. They win this game. A lot of the discourse around the NFL is that the Chiefs get all these calls. The Chiefs are the darling of the NFL. And I think they're the darling of the NFL. Let me say this. I don't think they get every call. I think it is so blown out of proportion that we're looking for it now, where we look for it more than we do with anybody else. Like every team gets a call or two in a game, right? For the most part, you're going to get a call or two. Mm-hmm. But I think we look for it more with the Chiefs. Yeah. And it's blown out of proportion more. Yeah. They are the new dynasty. That's what they are. And they're going to get a call or two in a game like everybody else, but it's magnified.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I'll start off by saying, like I said before, that call was wrong in the Falcons game. Yeah, that was a pass interference call.
I agree.
But you're right. I mean, you ever gone shopping for a car or something, and you're like, oh, I really want that, whatever. I like that car. I think I'm going to get it. And then you drive home, and you see that car 3 times, and you're like, I see this car everywhere I go now. Yep. It's the same thing. It's just because, exactly like you said, we're looking for it. So it's going to be, brought up a lot. But any way you want to slice it, they're incredible. They're the team to beat in the NFL and the AFC and the AFC West, whatever. However you want to slice it, they're the team to be beat. I think the Falcons did a good job staying in that game.
The Falcons had some boneheaded decisions.
That being said, I was just about to say.
I mean, come on. As somebody that had them last night, 3.5. Yeah. What is that 4th down call? I mean, what are we doing?
Terrible. I do want to say one thing about this team, and I'm going to go at you for your whole Falcons going to win 13 games.
I'm still fine. I'm still good on
What is the reasoning why we think, like, Kirk Cousins is a great quarterback, right? Not even great is a bit of an exaggeration. Kirk Cousins is a very good quarterback, okay? Sure. What is it that made us think, okay, Kirk Cousins coming over to a 7-win the previous season Atlanta Falcons team off an Achilles tear, being the top maybe 12 quarterback that he is, yeah, Kirk's going to really elevate this team and bring them to a 12, 13 wins. Now, it's not fair. I didn't talk about some of the other additions, but please, if you want to enlighten me, I would love to know.
My reasoning why?
If you want to give your reasoning, if you want to give the public's reasoning, sure. I'd just love to hear it.
So my reasoning, and I don't know if this is everybody else's, but good offensive line, good pieces on defense, interesting weapons, upgraded head coach.
What does interesting weapons mean?
Like playmakers. Like you have London, you have Darnell.
Yeah, but what is like this? My point is, like, who are these guys?
Weapons you can win with the right quarterback.
Okay, sure.
Like,
but Kirk Cousins, like, it's not like Sam Darnold where you're going to Justin Jefferson. Like, you're relying on Kirk Cousins to elevate somebody besides Bijan. Bijan, no matter what, is great. But you're relying on Kirk Cousins to elevate some of these weapons to reach their full potential, which is a lot.
So when we see London, like, we see London with terrible quarterback play, and you say, oh, there's something there. You don't necessarily need Patrick Mahomes to go there and elevate the talent, but you bring in a competent quarterback, a guy around the top 10, if not inside the top 10. You know who he can unlock some talent out of that kid.
You know who Cortland Sutton? I'm sorry. You know who Drake London is to me? Cortland Sutton.
I don't know.
That's who I see in Drake London.
I think it's a little harsh.
I'm a little out on Drake London.
He's so young. And he was a talented kid in college. I don't know. I mean, what did London do? What did he do last night?
I mean, he had a
6 for 67 and a touchdown. Yeah. Not a bad game.
No.
I don't know. Give it time. I think he's going to have a big year.
Kirk
I wouldn't have drafted him. By the way, I wouldn't have drafted him where people were drafting him in fantasy.
Yeah.
Fantasy discussion. I wouldn't have drafted him there.
But I mean, Kirk Cousins. We're talking about the PI call or the non-PI call. We're not talking about how bad of a throw that was.
Bad throw.
I mean, in a situation like that, game's on the line, you got to make a better throw than that to win the football game.
You want to talk about the roughing the passer they got called on Chris Jones? That was... Do my feet smell? Put my shoes back on.
Okay.
I took my shoes off. That roughing the passer was bad. Yeah. Bad. Did you see it?
I did not.
Oh, my God.
I was on the plane.
It was really... I mean, it is one of the worst roughing the passers I've ever seen in my life.
Was it a hit him low sort of ordeal?
No, not really. Because, I mean, you tell me. Maybe he smacked the face. But I don't even think he smacked his face.
Oh, my God.
And Chris
See,
Jones
that's the problem. Like, what are
is-
you supposed to do in that scenario?
You're not. Look, he takes him to the ground.
But also, all right, you want to talk about with the Chiefs, with the play, with the calls that they get? Nobody's talking about that
Nobody's
today.
talking about that today.
Nobody's talking about
But
that
the
today. I
Chiefs
can't
do
believe
have
I'm coming
calls.
to the Chiefs' defense because
I
I
know.
think it is a little ridiculous, some of the calls they get, but nobody's talking about that.
Nobody's talking about that. And let me just say this early on. Offense is down. Quarterbacks don't know how to play quarterback. Daniel Jones is second in QBR. We will not forget that. But the officiating is too much. They're over officiating these games.
Yeah.
I mean, there are calls that are being made that have nothing to. And I know you can't pick and choose when you're going to make calls and what calls you're going to actually throw flags on, but they need to figure something out because flags every 5 minutes is not good.
It's not good.
It's
at all.
really,
I mean,
it's so bad.
it's so bad that you hold your breath every time a big play
Yes.
happens. I mean, it's just, and I don't know if am I wrong by saying I don't remember football being like that 10 years ago? Am I wrong?
No.
No, tell me if I'm wrong. I'm genuinely
I
asking.
mean,
am
yes
I wrong?
and no. We pay attention and we're older, so now it's more.
You always had the holding call, big run. All right, make sure there's no holds. But now it's like,
Everything.
The worst is the sacks or a third down, quarterback drops back, lets go of the ball, it's incomplete, but you saw he took a shot and you hold your breath for half a second. You're like, please no roughing the passer.
Or it's he takes a shot deep, but the tight end was held a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's a 3rd and 10, and he was held at the 5 yard, 5 yards in the route.
Yep.
It wouldn't have even been a first down if he went to the guy.
Yep.
It's frustrating. It's really frustrating. All right, JM. The good, the bad, the ugly. There was a lot of that this week. Episode 143 is in the books. Anything else you got to say before we get out of here?
No, man. I mean, should be a nice, fun week. Hopefully, Yankees clinch the division. Mets can have some things go their way as well. And
2 out of 3 in Atlanta. That's all we need. Clinch. 2 out of 3 in Atlanta.
all you
Avenge
need, bro.
those demons. And let's go Giants on Thursday night. We're going to have the gambling show out, but that won't be involved. But let's go Giants. See if you could finally beat Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys. All right, we'll talk to you guys on the gambling show.